bill on the table and walked away. Well, the boy finished the ice cream, paid the cashier, and left the cafe. When the waitress came back, she began to cry as she wiped down the table, because there, placed neatly beside the empty dish, was a 10-pence piece and 5 pennies. You see, he couldn't have the Sunday because he had to have enough left to leave her a tip. And at the risk of mixing my metaphors, it's a sobering reminder not to judge a book by its cover. Let's pause a moment. Loving God, we thank you that you've spoken through history about the need to avoid judging lest we be judged. So that the pitfalls of looking at outward appearances when you see into our hearts. Help us to pause and consider your perspective before we pronounce judgment. And may we each know and be thankful for your forbearance with us. Amen.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Adrian, for those words at what is certainly a trying time this world. We'll move now on to our public question time. I have two members of the public who wish to raise questions. Take those in order. Again, if I can remind you, please be brief in your statements. So the first person I have point is about Vague Rose. Would you like to come and get the lecture?
That one? Yeah. Don't take this as I'm against anybody in here, but if you can't do the job properly, resign. But the lady who I'm talking about mostly is not here tonight, but I think you know who it is. Ulrika. Anyway, he's got all the Andy study, which was helping me, and told him to back off. Do that. If you want to check with him, that's up to you, but he's in favour of what I'm doing, these toilets. The contract, who would take over something with a contract but can't see that contract? Somerset Council won't let Thornton Dean see the contract. So why take them over, pass them back, and say, until we see the contract, what I are doing, then we can work from there and get something done. It's exactly the same. A month's gone by, nothing, absolutely nothing. And this working group, toilet working group, for you to write the name and said when it's going to be, or it might not be one. I've got emails saying it might not be one. I've sent it to Craig, he's got it. So if this council or Somerset Council can't do it, they keep passing it by all the time. I go to them and they come back and say, I'll give you a letter, and if you read it on the bottom, you get it there. It says, all the complaints I've made before the town council, because they're there, go back to Somerset Council, you know, and report it, and they get done. It's not getting done. Hall Street, there's a block of 7 up there, only 2 open for the last since April, and they've not before. And they're in a state, no one, it is absolutely rubbish. So all talking's got to stop, acting's got to happen with these toilets. But the fact that the gentleman's wife, he had put Somerset Council up the back where I did and she does as well, Hazel. Wanted a football, another goal post, put it back up the ground. What did they do? Irish Sharon went up there, cut the old one down and stuck a new one in. She wanted one up their end. You can't play football with one goal post. They cut one off and put another one in. Now they put another one in up to the ground. Because I phoned up Hazel and she said, well, you haven't got problems with the council. I've got them. She said, like this goal post. I said, well, they've done it. She said, they haven't, there's still just one there. I said, they cut him off and put another one there. So
I need to come to your closing.
yeah, so hopefully something gets done. If you don't do anything, resign.
Thank you very much, Ray. I do believe there will be a response to your question during the leaders' comments. So, Michael Stanley. Greenwood.
Unfortunately, I have an electronic device which I need to refer to. So I'm hoping Hey, well, I'll just explain my own position briefly. I came here post Brexit, I used to live in this year basically. And I've been on Cannon Street for 5 years. And 2 years ago, to date, I submitted the idea to Councillor and to Joe Borton of introducing a kind of 20-mile limit around what they consider the core walking area, LCI, the infrastructure area, just to see if it can kind of improve matters, and particularly the fact that Taunton now has a minister, just to make it less perilous really for parishioners. There are shopping there, and the vicar indeed nearly got knocked over going to go from the vicarage to the church, through by that lane where the car park is. I didn't really get very far, but I mean the incumbent for Monkton Hope, Efield, David vaunts the merits of the 20-mile-an-hour limit where he is. Put me in touch with the highways agency, who told me because there'd been no fatalities, there was no point actually changing anything. In fact, I was led to believe they might raise the limit because there was no fatality. But I think I understand there was the possibility of making a submission to some of the council who are keen to implement 20-mile-an-hour limits back in July. Nothing was done. Despite the fact having emailed Rebecca Powell, Councillor Froghill, Lees and various other people, I think it was an attempt to do a speed limit check on Cannon Street. So there was a kind of someone in a high heels jacket doing a test, and he didn't find anything going over 30 miles an hour. But that's the point, really, because it's not just speed the criteria, it's also the kind of the appeal of Taunton. And I mean, anecdotally, you've got a dental surgery on the corner of Cannon Street, so you have 4 ladies carrying out with their children and biking, and there are people cutting through Cannon Street to get to the M5, mentally on the roundabout down the M5, who just don't offer any kind of politeness, should we say. So I was suggesting, really discussing with council the idea of having a kind of 12-mile limit from the show yard, Priory Avenue, coming up past the cricket ground, who are indeed in favour, because often there were accidents about in front of the cricket ground, and then coming from across from East Reach, Tancred Street and Eastbourne Road, and also extend to get to the end of Hammond Street. Now, one carrot, because no doubt the car users are going to be very upset about this and votes and what have you, you might be able to, because of a more reasonable speed, and perhaps people discouraged because of the 20-mile-an-hour limit, they prefer to go on a faster way around, where there isn't a limit. You might be able to leave Hammond Street over, for instance, which I think probably isn't a bad idea. But I mean, why it should be a racetrack around Taunton Minster is a bit of a mystery. And anecdotally, my stepson, who's in the Taunton Minster Choir and is now one of the leading choristers at Exeter, he got killed coming down Hampton Street on his bike because some impatient person just decided they were going round. They get into the big cars, and mentally, as I said, they're on the roundabout at the M5. You know, and I've heard Taunton inspired in the most unhelpful sort of terms, particularly when St James's Street was shut. I mean, it really is a very negative kind of thing about the big impact.
I'm going to come to your closing remarks.
Yes, so I submit really that you reflect on this. I mean, I have an email which I sent around, and maybe you could consider making an application to Sunset Council to try and address the balance between the cars and the other users.
Thank you very much, Michael. So again, there'll be a reply from the leader. Yes.
Can I ask if I could speak about Woodlands Gardens Bridge, and if possible, does it happen now or does it happen when you use that?
I'm going to check if there's anyone else who'd like to speak. So if you'd like to speak, do I have any other people who'd like to speak? No, please come up. If it can, we'll give that 3 minutes. Can you take your name? Take your name for the record.
My name is Brenda Prentice. I just very briefly like to say that, like a lot of other people, there are many concerns about Goodland Garden Bridge. My first concern is that it was published that it would cost £400,000 to, I'm not sure was that put it down or rebuild it, one or the other. But I've not managed to find out where that figure comes from. There's been no clarity. I did ask the gentleman who published it in the Gazette if he could find out where it came from, but I'm not sure if his managed fact or not. There are apparently 3 reports on this bridge already, 2019, 2022 and 2023. And I'm told you're now thinking about a feasibility study. My feeling is that you've got 3 reports already. Why not cut to the chase and just get some quotes from civil engineers who know what they're talking about, and find out what they think needs doing and how much that will cost. That will possibly save us taxpayers another report. Also, I was told that from Somerset Council, they have said there is a contract to have the bridge pulled down. When I tried to find clarity of that, I failed. But they did say they were just checking points with the Environment Agency. Tried very hard with the Environment Agency to understand what was going on, failed. So there appears to be very little clarity about what's going on, what has gone on, and in fact, who owns it? Because Somerset Council tell me Taunton Town Council does, and Taunton Town Council does the Somerset Council does, so maybe somebody knows, I don't. But my suggestion is that we try and get this bridge registered as an iconic historic bridge. It could be done. It's 51 years old, and let's just remember that all historic monuments, assets, whatever you want to call them, were new at one time. So that's way interesting. Just another thing, there are, as I'm sure you know, many grants available for repairing assets, and that's an asset to Taunton. I think it's probably iconic and unique to Taunton. And please can we have it back opened? Yeah.
Yes, good point.
I think he wants me to say something else.
Lovely, thank you very much. Yes, the leader will have a response to that as well. It is one of our agenda items as well. Right, is there anybody else from the public who wishes to speak? If not, we can officially start this meeting. So, first of all, we have a large list of apologies for absence. I think Code is sweeping through again. I'm not ending off by myself. So, got Councillor Garth, who's representing me at the moment for the Taunton Minister, so she's not here, but Simon, Councillor Clark, Fernandez, Leeds, Leicester, Lucas Smith, Roberts. Have we had any communication from Councillor Hill? And Councillor Spain, yes, thank you for asking. I got it, so thank you. Right, so next item, ahead of the agenda, do we have any declarations of interest? Councillor Ellis.
Since there's relevant items on the agenda, and I'm Friends of Goodland Gardens and I'm a volunteer with Friends of Country.
Do you have any other declarations? Right, in that case, the minutes of the previous council meeting held on the 12th of September. Does anyone have anything they wish to comment on about those minutes? We're all happy that they are an accurate reflection of our meeting. Right, in that case, So, can I have a proposal, so please? Thank you, councillor Andy Hughes, and councillor Ray Tully, secondly. So, right, and, right, can I have a show of hands for those in favour to approve the minutes? Sweet. Okay. So next is for the document. Right, so the next item is a report from myself. First thing is, I'm sure you're all very keen to know the outcome of our colouring the peacock for the town council logo. I'm proud to display our winning. We had 68 entries, and I think we narrowed it down to 3, say, but it was a tough decision between those 3, but this one kind of stood out. The name of it is Quills. I particularly like, actually, because the last thing I wanted is that you actually have someone's name and then somebody could go around town going, oh, it's named after me. So I think Quills, and it kind of suits since the quill is often a peacock feather. So there we go, and that's going to become part of the mayor's Christmas card. Other than that, I've had a few engagements, quite a few engagements. It's starting to ramp up now as we head towards Christmas and the festive season. October and November, though, they seem to be dominated by really 2 strong occasions here in the town. That's the Carnival and Remembrance. And so already I've been to 2 carnivals at Exbridge, and I was invited over to Wellington Carnival last Saturday to along with the Mayor of Wellington and the High Sheriff. We led the procession. At a recent meeting, I was talking to the Mayor of Bridgewater, and he was going through the distinction between a float and a cart. And there are distinctions here on the carnival circuit. And apparently a cart relates back to the days when people were led out for execution. They'd taken on a cart. So why they are part of that carnival? Except, of course, doing a bit of Google research, it turns out that Bridgewater Carnival is probably one of the oldest we have in this country, which is directly linked to guide walks and the gunpowder plot, which of course leads us on to the fact that in a few weeks' time we have our own carnival here. But after that, of course, we've got bonfire night, where we then remember the failed attempt to blow up and derail our democratic process, whatever that process was back in the 1600s. But of course, remember, the 5th of November is quickly superseded by our very important occasion here, and something that we do very formally and we should do very well. And that's our Remembrance Weekend, the 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. There are many occasions over those few days where we can, as councillors, attend and make our act of remembrance. And so in both of those, then for the carnival, I think you've all been sent an invite to come and help out to collect money for charities that carnival is raising for. But also, very importantly, it would be really nice to see as many councillors as possible attend either the act of remembrance on Saturday the 11th in the middle of town, or the act of remembrance and the remembrance service on November the 12th. I think it's a good opportunity for us to stand with the town. It's something we should do well. We are the county town, we need to do it formally, we need to do it well. So I would encourage you all to come along to that. So that is really the end of my comments there. It's we're heading into that season where we can all find something to participate in. Following on from that, I've now handed over to the leader of the council for any comments that you'd like to make.
Thank you very much. I'll start by, I was just wondering to those 3 questions this evening. So Firstly, on public toilets, as you know, and I think when you came a month ago, so thank you for joining us again, but we absolutely share your frustration and the frustration of many people in the town that say about public toilets. I would challenge you slightly to say we're taking no action. I don't think that's fair. I think a month ago I said to you that we were going to be putting in place football counters, so if we start to build evidence of usage, they're now in place. I said that we would put in place the ability for people to give their feedback directly to us at Town Council and what they're seeing. That's now in place. We said that the working group would meet to discuss this. That's now there. So I would say that it's unfair to say that this is happening, and we are committed to making things happen to resolve this problem. I share your frustration around the contract, the lack of visibility of the contracts. There's not a lot we can do about that at the moment. It was only a temporary contract which is in place at the moment, and we're looking at what the future looks like to make sure we can do the right things with the toilets. So we are working hard on that. So we need to build the evidence so that we can access future grant funding to enable us to replace and improve toilets, and that's why we put in place things like the football counters and the feedback directly from residents, because that's the stuff we need in order to go and access funding that doesn't cost council taxpayers money locally in being able to replace and improve our public toilets. So I thank you very much for attending again, sir. Can I answer that? Well, that's up to the chair, but I give you an update on where we are, and we'll continue to work hard. On the working group, there will be an opportunity for members of the public to join that working group. At the moment, it's been focusing on very commercial confidential information. As soon as it's beyond that, then members of the public are more than welcome to join it. Sarah, I'm sure your name will be top of the list to join that working group given your experience. So thank you very much for being on this evening. On the 20-mile-an-hour zones and just generally road safety around town, again, I absolutely share your concern about road safety across Taunton. We absolutely have an ambition that our town is a safe place for everyone to use, not only road users, but also cyclists, people walking, to act currently speak key to everything that we do, and it's a key part of having to tackle the climate crisis that we're all facing. In terms of specifically applying to 25-mile zones, there was a previous window for Taunton Council to do that, for parish councils to apply, which we are at Taunton Town Council. It was earlier this year. We've only been in place since May. It was slightly too early into our being to apply in that round, but we have committed to putting in an application for the next round opens in 2024 for some of our areas in the town to apply for the 20-mile-an-hour status. We'll be doing some application with residents about that, what areas people would like to see applied for that, but we are committed to making sure that happens. So I believe that we are taking that seriously, and I think parish council, town council, we will do what we can to achieve the 25-mile zones in our town.
Of course, there is a agenda at the national level of Conservative policy.
Yeah, I'm trying not to get too technical on the state about I'll resist. And on the bridge, Brenda, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I hope to clear up some of the confusion. In terms of ownership of the bridge, so the bridge was owned by the former district council, Somerset West and Taunton, and when we had the unitary council come into place, the Somerset Council, they've now taken ownership of the bridge. So the Somerset Council owned the Goodman's Bridge. I'm 99% sure of that. What we're doing as a town council is looking to options of how we can solve the problem of the bridge being closed. And that's why I won't preempt the discussion and what council looks like later on in the agenda, but that's why we've got feasibility study on the agenda today, because we are taking it seriously. And what we need to do as a council to achieve that, and part of the study, I believe, are some quotes and some figures about what replacement might look like. So we can spend minutes about the figures that we might have heard in passing in previous times. I think that's covered public questions. And the only other thing that I just wanted to mention very briefly was just to congratulate the Friends of French Weir for their safe swimming events that happened over the previous month or so. They've done a really good job and had a really good turnout. I think people around this table and up to those. So there's a few items, a couple of items on the French Weir, and they will say later today, but a brilliant community event. I also had the pleasure over the past month of meeting with a number of local groups, including Citizens of Somerset, Taunton Community Club. I was able to speak at the AGM of the Private Community Centre. And I think what always strikes me now when I talk to them is there are so many brilliant groups doing wonderful things. And I'm really pleased that I won't steal the Council Factories thunder again on the grants committee, but that might be some more of them. And I just think we've got such an important role to play in bringing those groups together. And it's just so inspiring to see lots of people passionate about our town and how we can play our role in helping to see that. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, thank you. Just on the question of responding, I'm afraid we can't, because we are now in committee session. So, there's a council. And the people eligible to speak now from the public are people who are actually on the agenda list. So I'm afraid I can't take any questions.
That's what I want.
I'm afraid you can't.
Can I send you the email I got off of?
Yes, you can.
Send it to you.
You can send me. Yeah, I'm afraid I can't let you come back.
I'll send it to all of you.
Just the other thing I'd say, by the way, pointing out, so I did say I'm fighting bias, I just like reassure everyone I do test negative on COVID, so I feel it's important that we reassure you of that, especially you. But coming to that scene. Right, so yes, I have to be negative. So next week, reports from chairs of committees and subcommittees. So can I please invite, who's the first one? Personnel. Okay, so can I invite the chair of the personnel subcommittee, Councillor Wayne Tully? Thank you.
This is the easiest one for me because I'm going to head over to my substitute and my deputy because I will be there. You see very well.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kelly. I'll keep very brief. It was another round of essentially agreeing some really essential policies and procedures, including things like staff appraisals and so on, and it was all wrapped up very swiftly and very smoothly. And we also authorised, there's an additional day's leave we got with the staff, whereas mine to there's reports in minutes to explain all that, but we did ratify the fact that the staff were eligible to additional days leave, which I'm sure they're all very happy about.
Yes, what, does anyone have any questions for Councillor Peckham? Okay, thank you. Right, so the next report then is from the Planning, Development and Transport, which sadly Councillor Hill isn't here. So then I think it's back to so Vice Chair, you can now. Right, okay, right, hand over to Councillor Solly.
Yeah, we had a really good meeting. We had over 12 applications through. There were 5 licenses to renew or change certain things outside their licensing. But it's really nice finally to see, obviously the mortgage issues at the moment, that people are actually back investing in their own homes, and we're seeing a lot of improvements, even if that's wraparound extensions to smaller roofs or they're putting big roofs in. So it's been really nice. But yeah, we had also public participation from Higher Coventry Park proposals, which went on for a little while. But yeah, I just wanted to say thanks to everybody on the planning, just being really efficient, because to be honest, it went really fast, and yeah, it was really good. So thanks again.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask? In that case, we shall move on to the grants, chair grants. I believe that's again, Councillor Packer, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Yes, we met yesterday, and again, it was a really uplifting session. We had 7 applications, all of whom received the full amount that was requested, which leaves us, I think, around £18,000 left in the grants pot for the final round of applications after Christmas. It was a really good range of projects. We was in UK Theatre, some new lighting that will enable them to do training sessions for local residents and provide small theatre experiences for groups. The Ecocentre South West, who are going to be doing workshops to help people live more sustainably, Narrow Woodlanders, who provide parent toddler sessions with transport from particularly underprivileged areas within Taunton to make sure they have excellent young family experiences. Somerset Youth Theatre, we give them some money to run essentially a school year's worth of drama workshops for young people, again, particularly focusing on people who might not be able to access that normally on a free or pay as you run basis. The Brewhouse got some money to provide a water space activity scheme that's targeted at older residents. They've got somewhere more to go with a very low budget meal and lots of interesting things to do to go to meet new people and reduce social isolation. And then we had a sponsorship request from Taunton Carnival, which we granted, and so we'll be supporting Taunton Carnival this year. And also Tiger, the Taunton Youth Culture Arts Festival, who applied for a grant, but we opted to give them a sponsorship. I think we're going to, Sammy's nodding at me, a potential that was going to affect their application to the Arts Council for a larger pot of funding. And it sounds like that's going to be fine. So we'll be sponsoring the Tiger Festival for next year. But all some absolutely fantastic projects, and it's been very proud to be part of the town.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Back to you there. Does anyone have any questions or comments? In that case, we would have reports from outside bodies. We would have one from Councillor Fernandez, for the recommendation LCN, but she's certainly not here. But I do believe we have Councillor Deacon, the Town Advisory Board.
The Garden Town. Yes, the Garden Town Advisory Board met the week before last. We picked up, interestingly actually, rather than me giving you an update, I gave them an update on our implementation of our stewardship that we had at the last meeting here. They were interested in where Town Council got to and the work that we were doing on exploring stewardship. And that was the main focus of the meeting, really. There's not much else to report back in terms of things that impact us as the Town Council.
Right, lovely. Thank you very much. Okay, so item 7 on our community is the community review. This is for members to consider approving Taunton Town Council participation in the community review project. We had a presentation on this last month. It seems that they will fund it all. Whilst it's just a minimal cost, just providing venues and that. So for members to consider, it is for us now to consider appointing the committee review working group. So I shall open the floor. Does anyone have anything they wish to say or speak on this? Councillor, questions?
Very gracious this evening, Mayor. I think this particular project probably does need a working group. I just wanted to raise my general concern at the proliferation of number of working groups that we have, and we may need to review the current situation because there are not. I probably slightly more are really workable at this stage and workload that we as councillors are taking on. But I do appreciate this. This probably is something that is going to need some input to get working on quite soon. But could we potentially look at review of the other working groups we have in place?
Councillor Ellis?
Yeah, I think the support for this proposal, it's very useful to have the extra information to actually show what the output was from the exercise in chart and to see what the outcomes of that were. So I have a much better sense of what this thing that would be commissioning or participating in would be. I think it's great that we can get it done for free. So it is in a way that residents can tell us what they want to improve, what they want to change, what's great about the town. It would help, I think, really give us a steer to supplement a lot of the work we're doing engagement-wise anyway, because there is a lot of engagement going on by individual town councils and all sorts of different ways. So I'm very much in favour of this. And I think maybe it could be a short-lived working group or something, just a meeting to kind of like talk to key people about what the content should be. So we need the involvement of, for example, Chamber of Commerce, looking at somebody over there who I know is doing stuff to support small businesses as well, and the arts sector, because that was a big focus for Charles, some of the environmental side, big these groups, we just need to quickly pull together so that we can just sort of sense check what the scope is and what the kind of questions are. I think it need to be a whole shebang and a very long-winded thing. So yeah, I'm going to support this because we use for data.
Yes, I think that's the relevant statement. The working group is literally there to steer what the scope of the report and the consultation will be. So it will be very short-lived. Councillor Dean?
Just a quick question, I'm really supportive of this. I think last time when we had a presentation, we were asked to express our interest in taking part and the which we who's taking part. Is that still the case, or are we being, I think in the past not told us actually if we said tonight that we'd like to take part, that we would definitely be able to. Does that make sense? That's a very good question.
I'm going to refer to Sally.
My understanding is that there are funds available for them to provide this for us. There's enough. So there was an opportunity for us to say, yes, we'd like to do it. If we want it, rather than be on this.
Do I have any other comments? Okay, there are two things to resolve here. The first one is for us to consider approving the Taunton Town Council participation in the community review project. So do I have a proposer for this? Thank you, Councillor Egan. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Baker Hughes. Right, we're now going to vote on this. So if you'd like to raise your hand if you are in favour of this motion. Anyone wanting to vote against this? Any abstentions? Right, the second one, of course, is to consider appointing a community review working group, which would have, I think, have limited time scale. So, to these. So do I have a proposer for this? Okay, Councillor Beacon. Do I have anyone to second this? Okay, thank you, Councillor Solly. Right, we'd all like to vote. So if you are voting in order to establish a community review working group, please raise your hands now. Good. Right. So, item 8, Bigland Gardens Footbridge feasibility study. So we are here to consider appointing WSP to undertake a feasibility study. That's a cost of £7,700. We've all received the documentation for that, and it's rolled up on my computer at the moment. So I'm hoping we've all seen it. So I'll open up to any questions and comments that councillors might have on this issue. Anyone wishing to speak? Councillor Evans.
On behalf of the Friends of Goodlands Garden, I think we want really, well, residents really welcome us taking the lead on this, okay, as Taunton Town Council. So, I think we're very keen, I think residents are very keen for something to happen. And I think just to kind of pick up on Brenda's comments, I think this is a good way forward. I think this is a solid way forward because as Tom described, we do need our own report, not so much the other reports. Some of them were about the condition of the bridge and stuff. It wasn't about, us replacing it. So I think this is a really good way forward. I think residents will appreciate town council stepping into the bridge and understanding the importance of what is, as Brenda says, a really, really key asset for the town. It connects all of a lot of our green and blue spaces. It's vital for active travel. It is sortiness. It's had a huge impact on people's mobility, on people's social inclusion, access to college, school, all sorts of things. And we are absolutely passionate about replacing that bridge and determined to move forward. So I just want to strongly welcome this and also
Councillor Dunn.
Thank you. The scopes of work within the report has got production of 3 general arrangement drawings to have my potential replacements. Is that where we're sort of looking to sort of have government companies, or have we got something lined up who's going to give us the options?
Yes, I believe that the scope is that they do come up with 3 designs. Sally, do you have?
I'm guessing that because we're paying WSP to do this, but they will be coming up with those designs.
Okay. Now, they seem to have itemised very carefully the staffing costs, which and that's about £700. So the other 7,000, I think, is going to be for the coming 3 designs. We know when those designs will be available. Well, I hope you all had a chance to read that. Do I have any other comments? Councillor Fitching?
Thanks, Jim. Well, if I understand the desire and potential for the bridge and the need for it. I mean, I kind of agree with the speaker earlier, and I understand the point of saying there are different types of reports, but we already know that we're looking in the hundreds of thousands of pounds to replace the bridge. So what is the point of commissioning a report if, I mean, I'm assuming we wouldn't want to borrow to replace a bridge and suddenly we'll take council with debt already before it's even really got going. So what is the point? Shouldn't Somerset County Council, Somerset Council, shouldn't they be paying for this to say, these are the options, let's get the partners together and we'll then thrash it out, as opposed to putting our hand for the near £8,000, which potentially we might be to do anything with it anyway, because we're looking at £100,000. That's my only point. They should really be paying for this, we shouldn't. If they want, if they're keen, as party, to try and rectify the situation, then they should take the lead and say, we'll pay for the feasibility study, this is how much it's going to cost, how would we get there?
Thank you very much. You won't see that we now own the bridge, sir. You don't. No. Yeah, too good.
I take the point about the ownership and who should really be responsible. I think ultimately, given by Somerset Council financially, if we leave it, the responsibility in Somerset Council's hands, the most likely outcome, I suspect, is removal of the bridge. To be brutally honest, I think given where they are financially, we tried, Councillor Ellis in particular has really tried to navigate it with Somerset Council, but I understand that they've got their own financial challenges that they're really struggling with at the moment, that we're seeing across councils across the country. I think this is another one of those items where if we as a town council don't step up and try and do something for the people of Taunton, no one else will. I don't think we're committing ourselves to the hundreds of thousands. We need our own view of whether 100,000 feels very different to 400,000, for instance. So there's lots of numbers in the air at the moment, and I just believe that we need our own concrete numbers to make sure we're making a really informed decision. Either way, by the way, I don't think we're making decisions to necessarily do something with the bridge, we're just getting ourselves to the next step where we can make a far more informed decision.
Do I have any other more comments? Councillor Plant?
Thank you, Chair. I don't want to be devil's advocate, but Tom said that he believes that the county council own the bridge 99%. I'd like to know if it's 100%, 100% that out. But what's worrying me more, I agree 100% with the people behind me. The bridge needs to be replaced. But what worries me is that we will spend £7,000, and in some back drawer somewhere, that's where the plans will end up, and nothing will get done. I've seen it happen before, and it's not good. We're either going to do something, say this is what we want to do, and we're going to find out in the end, or we're not. We can't just make plans, spend money, and then suddenly say, well, we can't afford that, let's forget about it. People are going to ask us why we're wasting money if we can't afford it. Sorry.
Councillor Packard.
You could feel right back at the real shame if we spent money and it was wasted, but we had to find out ourselves. The previous report, as I understand, they were looking for different information, and it was much more about can the bridges be fixed? And I think the actual the assessment of the first things wasn't necessarily taken into consideration as much. And I personally feel that if the Somerset Council weren't minded to replace it, I thought may have been doing that to facilitate that decision rather than realistically looking at replacements, which ours would be. And also, it's time for if we are going to go and look for external funding, we will need to have our own, we will need to have this report. We can't use historic reports. They will expect us to have a brand new purpose, principle of the report, giving you all that information, and we are, this means that we can look at the information we need and not rely on another organisation who were looking for different information.
Thank you. Yeah.
I completely agree with everything that's been said, but one question that's worrying me is the costings that are labelled here for the reports and everything. Designs, for example, that's step one. But if it's left in the other council's hands, how much is it going to cost for them to dispose of it if it's left for them? So surely there's costings either side. If they decide to get rid of it, it's going to cost any of them to dispose of it and rectify. They can't leave it open. It's going to be a health and safety risk. So can't we work together trying to resolve this, because it's just toing and throwing. There's no answers anywhere to resolve it. If that makes sense.
Thank you, Councillor Evans. Councillor Ellis?
Sorry, this is one very passionate one. I think we're beyond the chilling the brain, Gemma, so it's like if we do this, we get a feasibility study, we get our own information, due diligence about costs and stuff. I've been told by somebody in the know that the foundations are in a good state. We need to know, we need some information about what a kind of standard rate would cost, and we need all of that stuff. But we're beyond the point now. I think Somerset Council want to move forward with us on this, and I cross. Oh, the fact they're not taking it on, everyone knows that. That's a very non-secret. I'm absolutely talking about, but I'm just, we as Tom said, we're stepping up. And so they want to work with us. So they will facilitate it. It's not like this is going to go anywhere. They will facilitate it and work with us. And they've given us advice about what should be in this feasibility study. So it's not they don't want it to happen, and they're going to work with us to make it happen. So I think we're on a new path now, and this is the only way that we can go with this. But I'm pretty optimistic about it.
Councillor Bowman?
Thank you. Cameron officers confirm that, when we get this report back, would it be in the public domain or would it be under confidentiality?
I'm not sure if I'm honest. It depends on the content of the report. Something I'm going to have to come back to you.
Okay, I would like to ask.
Councillor Sammy?
Sorry, let me come back on that. I think it should go in the context. Yes, I think the public know what it's going to cost. They will understand. If we hide it, they won't understand, and we will get it now next year. Sorry.
Yes, I think if we're using the money for it, it's good. Councillor Ellis, you are going to. Yes.
Sorry, I was
The mayor.
I was just going to say, I definitely think the whole thing needs to be in the public domain. I can't think why it would need to be confidential. I mean, we've even got in the paper, it even says that all the day rates of the people that are working on it. This is a big thing about Chorlton Town Council. You can look on the website and I'm using it's all there out in the open, right? And that's how we have to go forward. So I think we could, if it's not clear, we can say that to WSP, whatever this is going to be. This report is going into the public domain in its entirety.
Do I have any other comments? I think this is an issue that we have discussed before at council meetings, and I think we have resolved that replacement of the bridge is an important item in our agenda. And I think we've started that path. I think it's just a next step that we should be taking. So we need to move on to voting for this. So do I have a proposer? Thank you, Councillor Strass. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Lees. Councillor Lees. Right, so can we all vote now? Please raise your hands if you're voting in favour of this proposal. much. Please raise your hands if you're voting against this proposal. Please raise your hands if you're abstaining. Right, okay, the next item, internal auditor appointment. Members consider the appointment of an internal auditor carrying out the work in relation to internal controls required by the council in accordance with proper practices at a cost of £690 plus VAT. And I believe this is something we do actually want to have, isn't it? Yes. So, I'll invite any comments. I'm sure there will be many, but if anyone has, Councillor Pagan.
I just want to check, obviously, what this, it seems like a reasonable price, so I just want to check whether the quotes sought, or is this someone that we used before?
Two things, they're all very busy and very sought after. Did try and get some of the codes, and this person I've actually worked with in the past, and he also worked with the trustees, charter trustees, so he's known and available.
Yes, Councillor Toots.
Sorry, people now, but it mentions in there going with 3 years, and you recommending we choose this for 3 years and don't participate.
Thank you for having Councillor Pagan again.
I'm just happy to propose, thank you for clarifying that, so happy to propose that we go with quickens.
So we have one proposal, do I have a seconder? Councillor Stapleton. Thank you. So we move to voting procedures. Please raise your hands if you are voting in favour of this motion. I think that's unanimous. Just in case, is anyone voting against this? Anyone abstaining? Good. Right, so Taunton Together event. So the next thing is we look at considering spending up to £30,000 the event budget on an arts and culture event for September 2024. We do have here present Richard, as able to answer any questions that anyone wishes to ask. So if you want to ask Richard any questions about this, please do. What we are considering is to fund this fiscal 2024, coinciding with a visit from the international artists from the World Park Games International. So, do I have any comments from the floor? Councillor Pagan, please.
I'm just taking place of Councillor Smith Roberts, who always comes prepared with so many questions. I just wanted to know who would actually be organising the festival, because from the proposal it's the town council organising it. I would like to know. Normally, as with the previous Summerfest, it was an independent group of practitioners who organised the festival. Who would be running it?
That would be me. Right.
Councillor Hess.
Yeah, I fully support this proposal. I think it's absolutely vital that we have a really big summer event that's celebrating Taunton and its diversity and more amazing local artists and musicians, that we've got a huge wealth of incredible creatives in our district, crafters, creative artists, musicians, you name it, we've got it. And I think in the past, Jenny and Liz, I would have played a huge tribute to Go Create Taunton, who put together some amazing festivals. It's incredibly hard work. I think in the past, they always kind of were hoping that some council or other would kind of step up and do some of the actual the organising and the donkey work, so that they can create more focus on the creative side of it. So I think it would be very welcome, I think, with our input. Craig's incredibly experienced and knows how these things need to be done. So I think it will be reviewed very positively by our cultural stakeholders, and it means that I think our role as a council is to kind of really sort of linchpin, and we can pull other people in and coordinate and draw things together. So I think it will be absolutely amazing. Yes, Pity Vanessa was here in person tonight. She's an absolute volcano when it comes to creative ideas. And I think it'll be amazing. I think because of her links with the World Art Games, that's really exciting because that draws together people from all across the world. And it will help put Taunton on the international stage. That was always the goal of the SWT culture strategy, to really kind of sing and shout about more about Taunton as a cultural destination. And I think that her links with the World Art Games will be really instrumental there, because then and the thing is that when we did research on this at SWT, we found that when we invested it in arts and culture, there was a massive financial dividend in terms of income into the town. So this is economically, this makes incredibly good sense. But I forget what the figure was, but for every quid you spent, that we invested in arts and culture, there was, you know, like you got £10 back or something. You know, it was really seriously beneficial to the town's businesses and our economy. So this will be amazing in all sorts of ways. So yes, strongly support.
Thank you, Councillor Deacon.
Thank you, Matt. Yeah, I think this is a brilliant idea, actually, the sort of thing should be happening in Taunton. I've got a couple of questions, or maybe a thought and a question. I don't think we should do is agree to £30,000 and then just kind of see what happens with it. I mean, not comfortable we could agree tonight with £30,000 in principle, but that the final releasing of funds comes back to council once there's more of a plan around the event about what's going to happen on the ground. I think at the moment, I absolutely in principle, I think it's a brilliant idea, we should absolutely do it. I think in terms of making sure that we're spending the money in the right way, that maybe we get the final kind of rough stamp, lots of bit more planning to be done around the event. I think it should happen. To help support that, I wonder, Sally, can we split, can the budget go across 2 years? But it's happening in September 24. Does it all have to come out this year budget, or could we say 15 this year, 15 next year? That's an example.
Could do that, or you could say 30 out of this year. If it doesn't get spent this year, because we have to do some of the deposits may need to be paid this year, that we ring fence 30. And if it doesn't get spent this year, can we put it earmarked so we know we don't have to budget for it next year? It's already sat there for next year. So we could do either.
I can't really watch it because it wasn't really phrased as a question. Do I have any other comments? Councillor Patrick.
I'm in favour of having an event. It'd be great, and we don't have some Fest anymore, so having a replacement would be great. And I'm comfortable with the figure. It's, I've been chaired the grants committee, that is essentially 50% of the amount that we're giving out in small pots to projects that are lasting all year. That feels like a lot of money to spend on one day. I wonder how much of that it could be sought from external funding and through grant applications. Is the plan to, we might think if we could agree a smaller figure that we could use for match funding externally, that would make me feel uncomfortable about the finances. If you say splitting it over 2 years, that's still 15, you can say £50,000 this year, 50 next year. If we want to repeat it the next year, that will just roll on. So that's kind of the material which you take it out of. That's just a very big budget for a 1 day event.
So there is opportunity to apply for match funding through the Arts Council. So working with our grants officer, there are opportunities and avenues to explore to secure that match funding, which if we were to agree on 15,000, securing that match funding would bring us into the total that we're looking for to deliver that event.
I have any more comments? So given that, are we happy to go for a vote on this for 30,000, or are we think we should defer and go back to what? Match funding and Councillor Patrick.
I propose that we agree in principle to support the event and ask you to go in and do some research on funding opportunities and some costings, and we could agree to the actual vote on the financial commitment till next year. This will bring that next month in principle.
Councillor Evans.
I second what they said, because that is a lot of money for a day. And there's a lot of other, companies that need help. I'm not going against the idea, because I think it'd be great for the summer and things, but we need to look down at other avenues for a day. That's a lot of money for a day. I completely agree with what has been said.
Thank you, councillor Virginia.
In terms of what we decide now, I think the reason why you wanted the decision today was to be able to pay those costs. If we wait another month, we're back into those type of things happening. Is there an overall action plan already, kind of a loose plan in place? And you kind of know the artist, the production, blah, 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 is going to cost X, and this is the plan that you could potentially show us already, or you can talk about it to give us a better understanding, so we could say, yes, let's commit. I quite like the idea of Tom's idea actually of going, we'll commit £30,000, because actually Natural Banks, having spent most of my life in these degrees, not a lot of money, because performers need to be paid, production costs a lot, etc., etc. But obviously then we've got the opportunity to raise sponsorship, match funding, this, that, etc. So if you could kind of give us a flavour of whether people might be a bit more understanding of that, but I understand that's from prospect here.
Thank you very much. If I could bring in Richard Holt, actually, who's been part of those initial discussions to kind of shape a bit of a plan together, that'd be really good. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you for inviting me just to add a little bit to this. So the proposal in it's in a nutshell really is about the continuation of an arts festival in Taunton, which has been running successfully for many years. What I think the idea of the International Arts Festival is an ambition for 2025, whereas this funding proposal really is to support next year's Somerset Festival. The point about it being a day isn't necessarily correct. It is, as Councillor Caroline Ellis said earlier, that the value that it brings to our communities, the impact assessment of the cultural trustee was for every pound spent, £5 return on that investment. So I think we're talking about football, we're talking about tourism, and bringing more value into cultural value into our communities. So it's a little bit more than just a day festival, so I think clarify that. Also, that in the proposal it talks about a number of partners across Taunton. Go Create, I'm the director of Go Create, and also Creative Innovation Centre, and also a lead on the creative people from the cultural strategy. There are huge amounts of arts organisations that create an immense amount of wealth in our community. This gives them an opportunity to work together with the broader community and give us civic pride. And I think that is a huge addition to just the day's festival. So I would like to say, that there is a lot of work already done, but we need that thumbs up for those organisations to come around the table and start to put the meat on the bones for next year.
Thank you, Richard. And just to come back on your question regarding costs and where the £30,000 mark came from. I used to be the account manager for Summerfest, so I used to work with Sally Mann, who delivered the event on behalf of Taunton Deane Borough Council originally. She'd been working at that £30,000 mark, and she kept at that mark for about 5 years. So the £30,000 mark, based on what she was delivering, is what we're hoping to create again. Thanks.
Okay, so do we have any final comments? So, so do I have a proposal then for this, proposal as it stands? Councillor Fitchie, thank you very much. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Ellis, thank you very much. Right, so all those who wish to vote in favour of the proposal as it stands written in the agenda, to consider spending up to £30,000 from the events budget on an arts and cultural event for September 2024, co-serving with the International Arts Theatre and World Art Games International. If you are going to vote in favour of that, please raise your hands now. Yeah. Okay. Right, all those voting against? All those abstaining? So that motion has carried. The same anyway, so, right, okay, so item number 11, external audit reports. The very first meeting we had to sign off the reports from Taunton Charter trustees, which is a shadow town council, and also from the parish councils of Coventry and Stable Group. We've had those reports back. I think they're all in your notes that you received. There's nothing really for us to do except to note the comments that were given. So, so that is literally there to note that we have had back. The external auditors have given us some comments. There's nothing we can do about them because those actually so we have noted them. So item 12, health and safety and human resources support. So we are going to consider the appointment of a workness or the appointment of workness to undertake the council's HR support and health and safety. Again, there's a report on this. Again, we are looking at per year for the next 5 years. 3,000. Okay, so that's per year for the next 5 years. This is for what our clerk considers essential input into their working practices here.